Okay, so this is the first presentation of its kind in the UK. I've put this together as a temporary measure to introduce the idea of E-Dinar to people because we've only just started and we don't have anything for the UK as of yet. So I'm just going to go through some of the slides I've put together to give you an idea of how this works and how you can benefit. Now, Jim Rohn once said, formal education will earn you a living, but self-education will earn you a fortune. And this business, this cryptocurrency business, is actually making a lot of people multimillionaires, but very few people understand it and know how to use it. So what I aim to do here is to educate people on how this works and how we can benefit from this. It's been regarded the investment of the decade, and that's because a lot of people who bought Bitcoin, for example, that's one of the cryptocurrencies, didn't really understand it, didn't know what they were getting themselves into, but actually made fortunes out of it. And the truth is, it hasn't even started yet. Just to give you an idea, Bitcoin was first introduced in 2009 because when the banks collapsed in 2008, and obviously lots of people lost their money, except for the banks, of course, because they got bailed out, one gentleman called Satoshi Nakamoto decided to do something about it. He thought, why let the banks get away with this? And, they're the ones who are causing all the trouble when the people should be actually benefiting. So he created this peer-to-peer system called Bitcoin, where people could do transactions with each other without having to use the banking system. And when it first started, obviously people didn't really understand how it worked, but the idea was to create these crypto coins, excuse me, a total of 21 million, and at the moment there's about 14 million in circulation. And in the beginning they were very, very low value. They were only worth about 6 cents, but since then they've risen in value to about $400 because people are using them. And if you do a comparison, 6 cents back in 2009 and $421 today, that's a 7,000-fold increase. So that means if you had £1,000 worth of bitcoins, you'd be a multimillionaire today. You'd have £7 million. And there are countless examples of people who've bought these and just forgot about them, and they've suddenly made fortunes. And the truth is, it's actually getting more and more popular. There are places that are accepting Bitcoin now, like Subway, food outlets, online retailers. And even though very few people understand it, it's a bit like the internet. When it first started, not many people knew how to use it, but slowly it gained popularity and people started to become familiar with it. And it's the same thing with this. What the internet did for the information age is what Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is doing for the finance age. And you've got people like Richard Branson who are also investing into it, and he's saying things like it might not be the perfect global currency at the moment, but it is the pioneer of the future. And even Bill Gates is advocating it. He said that Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap financial transactions can be. Bitcoin is better than any currency in that you don't have to be physically in the same place, and of course for large transactions, currencies can get pretty inconvenient. So why cryptocurrency? Well, first of all, it's a decentralized system. That means no single entity is in control. So you haven't got a bank or a government or an organization controlling it. It's done by people dealing with each other. So it's a peer-to-peer system. And obviously the banks and the governments don't like this, but they can't do anything about it because that's how it's evolved. And it's just like the internet. The internet is a similar thing. There are very little fees, or in some cases no fees, and the transaction is instant. If you wanted to transfer £1,000 from the UK to America, it would cost you about £25 and it'd take 3 to 4 days. With this, and that's through the banking system, with this, it's instant and it's virtually free. And of course, there's a finite number of coins being produced. That means that the value of the coins is going to be held because it has a limited supply. Unlike the cash that they're constantly producing with the quantitative easing that we're going through, it's constantly devaluing the value of the money that we have. The other thing is a transparent system, which makes it, ironically, more trustworthy and secure. Like I said, it's not run by a single entity. The ledgers are held everywhere, and everyone can see what the transactions are. You won't see the personal details, but you'll see the wallets being updated, so it's very hard to hack into. And you won't need to carry cash anymore because everything will be done digitally. You won't even need credit cards. And the best thing about it, I think, is that it has a programmable feature. So you can actually attach the cryptocurrency to other assets, things like gold, silver, property, land, whatever, which means that you can now do trade with asset-based currency as well. If you've got children or you've got friends that you want to transfer an asset to them, you can do this using this method. And of course, more and more retailers are coming on board, so this is going to create even more bigger opportunities. But unfortunately, Bitcoin has its limitations because it uses an old system called proof of work. Now, I won't go into this too much detail, but basically what that means that to produce these coins, it gets harder and harder, therefore it uses more and more energy, it uses more and more resources, having to use more complicated computer systems to create these coins, and it's ecologically and financially not viable, so it's very costly. And in addition to that, because it's using more and more computing power, it's more prone to hacking, so it's got security issues. So the new system is called proof of stake, and this is much more efficient. It's first of all it doesn't cost anything hardly, because it's using very little electricity and you don't need complicated computers, and it's very environmentally friendly. It's also very, very secure, but the best thing is that the owners can profit from it, so the people who actually own the coins can actually benefit from it. And I suppose the best way to describe these two is if you imagine proof of work being like the old internet where we had dial-up, and then proof of stake being like the new broadband system that we use today. It's much more efficient and more viable. And so with that, we'd like to introduce you to something called E-Dinar. This is the most advanced cryptocurrency of its kind in the world, and one that actually rewards you with 20% per month in bonuses. Now, I mentioned in the previous slide that you actually benefit from owning these coins, and the way they mine these coins, they give the 20% to the people who actually own them as a reward. I'm going to show you a short video now that explains a little bit more.
Afraid of using cryptocurrency? Afraid of fraudulent currency mining companies? Concerned about protracted incubation periods of development? There is a way out. We're announcing the launch of an innovative cryptocurrency mining by Malaysian developers, E-Dinar. E-Dinar combines the best of its predecessors. The system does not have a state subordination, so you can be absolutely sure of the anonymity of your operations. Using E-Dinar, you can perform a variety of transactions, from payments in stores to participation in stock exchanges. For more opportunities, visit e-dinar.io. As the sole owner of the currency, the online community controls all of E-Dinar's mining power. For 2 years, E-Dinar's buyout will be made at a fixed rate, which makes the currency one of the most used, not only in the Asian market, but also all over the world. E-Dinar, it is an opportunity to move away from the archaic world and to step into a new era of post-informational space in which there is no place for paper money, inflation, or crisis.
So that hopefully gives you an idea of what E-Dinar is and how it works and how you can benefit. Okay, so the company is registered in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia because the people who founded the company are based over there, and they've invested heavily into this company. But they've actually set up a UK subsidiary which is registered in London. You can actually get the documents off the website and see the registration details. And the servers are set up in America for those of you who want to know where it's operating from. As I said, the documentation's on the website if you want to download it and have a look at it, but there's the company registration number. And to start with, the E-Dinar coin is valued at $1 for one coin, and they will be producing 22 million coins over the next 2 years. In fact, they started on the 17th of November last year, and the mining process ends November next year, so you've got 2 years there. But the best thing is that these prices are fixed. They will not increase the price until all the E-Dinars are mined, and then they'll let the market determine the value, which is great because that means that the value of the currency can go to anything. With Bitcoin, it went from 6 cents to 400, With this, it can be anything. The other thing is that it's also registered on the blockchain. That means that it's actually officially recognized as a cryptocurrency, and you can trade it on these exchanges with other currencies and other cryptocurrencies. This is very, very important, because without this, the value of the currency is meaningless. It's only based on the people that are using it. But if you've got a currency that's registered on the blockchain, you can trade it with other people who use other currencies, and therefore it has more value. To give you an idea, let me just show you a quick example of these exchanges in the back office. So this is a look at my back office. I'll just give you a quick rundown of how it works. I started on the 23rd of April, and today it's the 9th of April. Yeah, and basically I introduced 6 people. Actually, I introduced 5. One of them didn't actually go through because it was the email was wrong. So I actually introduced 5 people in 2 days. But during that period, 201 people have joined, and I'm doing about $18,000 worth of turnover. And bearing in mind, most of this is coming lately. So you can click on these graphs to see what you're doing, how much money is being turned over. And here's my referral program, where it shows all the people that I've registered. These are the 5 people. I can click on these names and it can show me all the people under them, but I won't go into that right now. Up here you can see that I've introduced 6 people. 5 of them are active, 1 isn't. That's on level 1. 16 on level 2, 8 not active, 22, 7, so on and so forth. So in total I've only actually got about 40 to 50 people active out of 200, because a lot of them are fairly new and they're just learning this, and this is the reason why I'm putting this video together. And then to give you an idea of what I've earned so far, I started with $500. If you look up here, it's gone up to 575 because the first week bonuses got added last week. But I've made $265 worth of bonuses, and that's in 16 days. And you can imagine that this is just going to carry on and carry on. And obviously there's a mining process involved, but there's another video that explains all that. So let me show you how these exchanges work. This is just one that's in English, but if I click on here and do the Russian version, you'll see plenty of more of these exchanges. And for the purpose of this video, I've taken the liberty of opening some of them up. So I'm just going to give you an example here. This is one exchange. You can convert E-Dinars into cash in this one. On this one, you can convert from E-Dinars to any of those currencies. A lot of these are in Russian because obviously this is mainly set up in Russia, but it's also coming over here now. And then here you've got, again, E-Dinars. There's one with Bitcoin as well. Let me find that one, where you can convert to Bitcoin and also convert to, you can have funds going into your credit card. So you've got MasterCard and Visa, and obviously that's in Russia, so it's done in rubles. So these exchanges are operational, and the E-Dinar is on there, but it's slowly being opened up in the UK and Europe as well. And that's very, very important, as I said earlier on, because without that, the value of the currency is meaningless. So the question is, how do you generate this income? Okay, well, it's done through something called a mining process. And to get started, it's very simple. All you need to do is register, and it's free to register. So speak to the person who referred you to this. Click on their link and register. There's a video that shows you how to do this. You purchase your E-Dinars. The minimum purchase is 1 E-Dinar. Ideally, you want 100, because if you want to make money, you want to refer people, you want to have at least 100. And basically, then you just start mining, and it's done every 7 days. And during that process of mining, every 7 days, you'll generate bonuses, and it works out to a total of 20% of what you've bought. So if you've bought $100, you'll get 120, and then 20% on that, and so on and so forth. So here's an example of what you can earn. The actual bonus is worked out daily. It's 0.65%. And as I said, it's done every 7 days, which works out 20% over a month. If you started with 100, your first month's bonuses would be 120. Sorry, $20. So you get 120. The following month you're getting 20% on 120, and then the following month you get 20% on 144, and so on and so forth. After month 4, you've doubled what you've invested, so you can take your money out if you want. After a year, you're looking at almost 9 times what you've put in, and after 2 years, you're looking at almost 80 times what you've put in. And similarly, if you did it on 500, the percentages are the same, and of course on 1,000, it depends what you want to come in with. The best thing about this is it's 100% passive. You don't have to recruit anyone, you don't have to sign anyone up, you get the 20%. Now, one of the questions that I get asked often is, where does this 20% come from? Well, think about it. They're creating currency. It doesn't cost them anything, and they're rewarding you for that. Because without a community of people willing to use the currency has no value. And the way they create that value is by creating a desire for this currency. So we're buying into this currency, we're starting to use it because we're getting rewarded for it. It's a bit like, let's say we all joined a company and we were given shares, and the more we traded with that company, the more shares we got. We were rewarded 20%. And as the business grew and the value of the company grew, so did the value of the shares. And we are benefiting from that. So it's a similar sort of thing. It's not money coming in from people joining. It's money that's being generated through the actual mining process and the value of the currency that we create. But you can also earn from other people. And this is very interesting because it actually pays you down 7 levels. On the first level, you will earn 25% of anybody that you introduced, not what they've invested, but their bonuses. So if somebody's put $1,000 in and they get the 20%, they've made $200. You'll get 25% of that added to your bonus, added to your total. On the second level, you earn 20%. On the third level, 15%. But of course, you need people in the group. Now, if you were going to earn on your first level, you need to have at least 1 E-Dinar in your account. If you want to earn on people level 2, you need to have at least 100 E-Dinars in your account. If you wanted to earn on level 3, you need 100 E-Dinars, plus you need 5 frontline members who will also have 100 E-Dinars in their account. And if you want to earn on level 4, you need 25 members on level 2. And so on and so forth. If you want to earn on level 5, you need 125 members. And to be honest with you, I don't really go into all these 7 levels. I'm going to show you a really simple calculator that works just down 3 levels. And you might think it sounds too good to be true, and you might think these amounts are fantastic, but you've got to remember that people on your level 3, that you're earning 15%, are also generating commissions for people on level 2, because they're getting 25% of them, and people on your level 1 are getting 20% of them, plus you're getting the percentages on the people, the commissions that these people are generating from the people below. It's a bit complicated to explain, but you'll get the idea when I show you the calculator. So here's the calculator, and in this example I've just put $100 in the purchase box. So if you were to purchase $100, and I've only worked this out over 12 months, your $100 then compounds monthly, and at the end of 12 months you're looking at almost 9 times what you've put in. But if you were to introduce people, and let's say you introduce 5 people in your first level, then suddenly your amounts jump up because you're earning 25% commission on their bonuses. And if you look at the end of 12 months, you're looking at about £3,000. So 30 times what you've put in. If they introduce 5 each, so you've got 25 people level 2, now you're looking at almost 15,000 at the end of 12 months. And remember, this is everybody coming in with $100 each, okay? And if they were to introduce 5 each, so you've got 125. Now this could take a bit of time, but let's just go with it for now. Your $100 becomes 70,000 after 12 months. And remember, this carries on until the 17th of November next year. So you're talking at least another 6 to 8 months. And this is only if you came in with $100. Now, you could take money out at any time. You could take it out the very next day if you wanted to. That's the best thing about this. You don't have to leave the money in. You can get it in, take it out, or you can just take an income from it. In fact, even within month 1, you've made your money back. Most people are coming in with about $500, And if I give you an example of that, then you're looking at about 351,000 after 12 months. Now, it does sound too good to be true, I realise that, but you've got to realise that this cryptocurrency is already making people fortunes out there, people who don't even understand it. People have made millionaires in Bitcoin, and there's no reason why this can't do the same. So this is just a quick example overview of how this works, and if you want a version of this calculator, let me know and I'll email it out to you, or speak to the person that referred you, and they should be able to get it for you. So how do you register? Well, it's quite simple really. The first thing you need to do is click on the link that your sponsor sent you, the person that actually is registering you. And once you've clicked on that link, you will get a dialog box like this. Now make sure that it is from the person that's sponsoring you by looking at the email address in the sponsor box. You can register using one of the social media buttons at the top, but for the purpose of this video I'm going to show you how to register using email. Now first of all, don't use Hotmail or Live or MSN. For some reason it doesn't work at the moment. They are looking into this, but try and use something like Gmail if you can. So you put your email address in and then put your phone number in. Don't put the plus in and don't put the 0. Just put the 44 and then the rest of the number without the 0. And then create a password. It's got to be at least 8 digits with some figures in there as well. Repeat the password and then just hit authorize. Now once you do that, you'll get an email sent to your email account, and you simply activate it by clicking on the link. When you've done that, go back to the website and log in. When you've put your email in and your password and you log in, another box will appear just below it asking you for a PIN code. If you go back to your email address, email account, you'll see a 6-digit PIN code. Simply enter that into the box and log in. Once you've done that, it'll ask you, do you want to add your IP address? Just click yes, and that's it, you're in the system. Now if for some reason you make a mistake and you need to go log back in, it will send you another 6-digit number. So ignore the first one, use the second one. And if you do that, if you make the mistake 2 or 3 times, it'll prevent you from logging in for at least an hour. So make sure you use the last 6-digit number for logging in, not the first one. Otherwise you'll be stuck. Once you're in, just fill in your details, your name, address, select the country, put the town or the city. I put in my street address and my postcode in there, and then the date of birth bit is a bit awkward, because in this bit you've got a calendar, you've got to scroll back through every month. So the best thing to do is just type it in physically, but you've got to put the month first and then the date and then a 4-digit year, and that's it. You ignore the password box and then just press update, and that's it, you're in the system. There's a video that will explain how you can actually add funds to the account. It's very simple, it's fast, it's secure, it's very low fees, and it's a totally transparent system. As I said, it's totally anonymous, and the best thing is you're not dealing with banks. Once you've got your funds in the account, you can start trading, you can actually start generating income. You can convert from one form of currency to another, as I explained, and there's all these different exchanges in the back office that you can use. At the moment most of them are in Russia and Asia, but they will bring on more UK and European based businesses and the banks, but at the moment you can also use things like payment processors like PayPal, Pazer, Perfect Money, Advance Cash, etc. to do transactions. If you have any questions, there's helpline numbers, you can ring them, or you can use the support box, which is really fast. It's a live support system. You just type in the question you want to ask and they'll get back to you straight away. It's also been featured on the news in various articles. I won't go into that at this stage, but just to summarise then, just to give you an overview, cryptocurrency is the future. It's got huge potential. This is just the very beginning. The reason for that is because the transactions are instant and they're low fees and they're controlled by the people. It's not controlled by a bank or an organisation. There are no monthly and annual fees with this business. You're just buying currency and you can cash out any time. You don't have any restrictions. You don't have to leave it in there for any period of time. You can transfer the money at any time you want. It's very low level entry. You can start with just 1 E-Dinar. The 20% monthly bonuses will last till the end of 2017. So make the most of it. And the best thing is, there's no recruiting. It's totally passive. The currency is fixed at the moment, but the market will be allowed to determine the price at 2017. But in the meantime, you can still benefit from the 20% bonuses and anybody you introduce. I haven't seen anything like this. I've looked at a lot of programs in the last 5 years. I've not come across anything like this. I haven't got involved with anything, none of the revenue shares, nothing. But this is something that's really grabbed my attention because I've been interested in this market for a long time. And here's somebody come along and introduce probably the best thing I've ever seen. So get back to the person that showed you this. Just get registered, put some money in, give it a go. If you're not happy with it, you can come out of it anytime. You can transfer your E-Dinars back to the person who registered you or somebody, because there's plenty of people out there willing to come back in, and you can get your money back. So it's absolutely virtually no risk. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you understand everything. And if you've got any questions, get back to the person who showed you this video.